Columbia, South Carolina, where the Gamecocks, the #2 team in the nation, they have won 65 straight home games and 49 straight games in SEC play, looking to extend that today against Texas A&M inside Colonial Life Arena. Courtney Lyle alongside Christy Thomas-Scuddy, and unfortunately, devastating news this week for South Carolina. Ashlyn Watkins out for the season. She tore her ACL in their last game against Mississippi State.
I know Dawn Staley saying next player up, which has been the code for this South Carolina team throughout her tenure. But Ashlyn Watkins is a big loss because this young lady can defend positions 1 through 5. She's a rim protector. She covers up a lot of mistakes for the South Carolina defense. Eager to see how the other players step up this evening.
Now, I will say, one of South Carolina's strengths is their balance, so they do have a lot of depth that they can turn to, and Dawn Staley not asking anybody to play outside of their role, just give a little bit more. On the other side, facing a Texas A&M team led by Joni Taylor, defensively, they always have a plan when you're facing a Joni Taylor team.
And that plan consists of option A, B, C, and D. And Joni told us today, we've got to mix it up and try to keep South Carolina out of getting into any kind of flow on the offensive end.
Texas A&M just got its first ranked win over Ole Miss since 2021. They forced Ole Miss to shoot 0 for 12 in the fourth quarter after changing to a 2-3 zone. Sandstorm playing, meaning the Gamecocks are playing. The #2 team in the nation, only one loss on the season. And here we go in action in Colonial Life. Feed inside to Te-Hina. Pow, and too easy. The first points of the game for South Carolina. Texas A&M starting 5. Aisha Coulibaly. South Carolina has not forgotten her. She dropped a cool 32 points the last time she played the Gamecocks.
And we asked Dawn Staley, what's the plan? She goes, there is none. She's that good. She's a difficult matchup. Joni Taylor said we need to get Coulibaly going early today.
And usually one of the first plays they run in the game is for Coulibaly. You saw her with the ball there, but she traveled. Here's South Carolina's starting 5. And how about Raven Johnson right now? A full stat sheet for her, and she had 0 turnovers in their last game. Their point guard.
The consummate point guard, as you would expect under Dawn Staley. She's setting the table for her teammates. She's the best on-ball defender on this team, but she's shooting really well right now also.
Te-Hina Pow, she's already got a bucket in this game, and that will be a travel. So if you're facing South Carolina, we know balance is their biggest strength. They have so much depth. Where do you start game planning?
I think right now, especially with the loss of Watkins, go inside. And that's what Joni Taylor said. We need to establish our low post. And the other piece of this is that when Texas A&M wins the paint points in a ball game, they win the game.
Now, Texas A&M averages about 34 paint points per game. Sanaya Fagan thought that she had the takeaway. There's going to be a foul instead on Sanaya Fagan, and that is her first. You see Ashlyn Watkins there starting her prehab before they do surgery for that ACL tear. She'll be out for the rest of the year.
I mean, it's a loss, obviously, for South Carolina. It's a loss for our game. She's such an exciting player to watch. Yes, Miss Watkins, as she's known because of her rim protection, but just a dynamic player for the Gamecocks.
Aisha Coulibaly with the bucket. Don't forget, too, I mean, Ashlyn Watkins is the first Gamecock in history to dunk in a basketball game. She's done it a few times now.
One each year
That's
of her
right.
career.
Bree Hall for 3, and it's short off the iron. So here's Soleil Williams in that maroon jersey for Texas A&M. First year playing the point guard position, which she played in high school, went to Joni Taylor and said, I want to move back there.
And I think for Soleil Williams, she's learning that it's much more difficult at this level. But right now, Aisha Coulibaly's picking up where she left off in Greenville last year.
Yeah, at the SEC tournament when she dropped 32 against South Carolina. Here's Fagan still on the floor with 1 foul early in this game. Trying to step around Lauren Ware. And Ware takes the basketball away on the rebound.
Lauren Ware is so important for Texas A&M's defense.
Janae Kent too far underneath the basket. How about Aisha Coulibaly? They call her AC.
Well, Joni Taylor said AC's got to give us a good start. And you just see the wheel there, powering by her defender, gets the distance so that she can, and then the next time they overplay her, and that's the go-to move, that reverse spin move around the basket.
Started her career at Auburn for 3 seasons where we saw her a little bit more inside. Now she's playing a little bit more out, has such a versatile game. Great Hall rejected by Sahara Jones.
She missed where.
Soleil Williams elevating. Rebound by Bree Hall. Raven Johnson's going to push pace. She's got Sanaya Fagan running ahead to Pow Pow. Mid-range. Got it! South Carolina 7th in the SEC, scoring 82 points per game. This Texas A&M team only 68 points per game. Aisha Coulibaly is a big part of Texas A&M's offense, and you see what she did in the second meeting in March against this South Carolina team.
Well, in the game in January, I actually called, and she was just foul trouble the entire time. So it's key for Aisha to stay on the floor here for Texas A&M. And she only knows one way to play, and that's hard and aggressively.
Into the hands of Sahara Jones. She'll pull up, pop, rattles out. Lauren Ware is there to help her. Second opportunity for Ware is off the mark.
Well, we were worried about the rim protection, and Sanaya Fagan says, I got this.
There's going to be a kick ball.
Well, Courtney, when we talk about the defense of South Carolina, and this is where they're at their best, they turn that defense into offense because they push pace. Texas A&M does not get solid in the half-court defense. Pow Pow made them pay.
South Carolina can push pace. They can play inside. Their guards can hit from the outside, and then they can just go to their bench. Have you seen a weakness for South Carolina this season?
I mean, they're not shooting as well as a year ago. Assists are down, but I also think this is part of what Dawn Staley does. She builds for April. I would like to see them make more of the shots around the bucket consistently, but in my mind, this team is on pace to be cutting down nets in April.
Aisha Coulibaly, 3 for 3 from the field. She has all of A&M's points. Joyce Edwards, that is a freshman. We'll see her at the free throw line.
Her versatility reminds me of Watkins, but her ability to score off the bounce. That's going to be a really interesting matchup with Ware, and we see Jada Malone check in for her.
Joyce Edwards at the free throw line, an 84% free throw shooter in her freshman season. Not bad. Drops in the first. But we've got 6 men's college basketball games for you Saturday on ESPN. It starts with these two, Cooper Flagg and Duke hosting Notre Dame at noon, and then Iowa State, Texas Tech. Tied at 6 after the free throws.
We talked a lot about Soleil Williams and how well she's played in SEC play, but Erica Moon's another young lady is on the floor now. Her minute restriction's gone up to 5 minutes a quarter, and she's just a steady point guard for Joni Taylor in this ball club.
Yeah, that's number 3 in the maroon jersey with the basketball right now. 6 seconds on the clock for the Aggies. Jada Malone coming up to screen for Janae Kent, the LSU transfer. Rebound by Kitts. Pow Pow. Back to Chloe Kitts at the elbow. You can't leave her open.
Same thing that happened before. A&M misses. They don't get solid in the transition defense. Kitt trails there, has a wide open look.
Chloe Kitts coming off a double-double against Mississippi State. 17 points, 10 rebounds. Has taken her game to another level as she tries to become a pro eventually. Inside to Jada Malone. A little too far underneath the basket, and she traveled. South Carolina up by 2 thanks to Kitts.
Well, and it is the trail shot by Chloe Kitts. No one matches up. One dribble pull up. Good look for Kitts.
Well, both of these coaches have USA basketball experience. Dawn Staley was the head coach of Team USA when they won gold in Tokyo. And then Joni Taylor was an assistant with Team USA this past summer in Paris as the women brought home another gold medal.
We're just in front of greatness.
Yes.
Not just from a collegiate perspective, on a national and international perspective as well.
Close game early on here. Courtney Lyle and Christy Thomas-Scuddy with you from Columbia, South Carolina. Chloe Kitts, her second bucket today, finding an open lane. Someone that enrolled early 2 seasons ago has decided to take the pro approach to her basketball game, and it's paying off.
I mean, this is now 2 games in a row where we're seeing Chloe be really aggressive on the offensive game. Offensive end.
Mylasia Fulwiley, too much, going coast to coast. Joyce Edwards with the rebound and the putback.
And this is the other thing when you play South Carolina. The first shot won't usually beat you. It is their way of getting second and third opportunities, whether it's transition or not. A&M's got to keep them off the glass.
Yeah, South Carolina averages 17 second chance points per game. They're 13th in the nation in offensive rebounds per game. Edwards corrals that one. It's an 8-0 run right now for South Carolina. Tessa Johnson going to the free throw line after that foul.
We were both eager to see how Chloe Kitts will respond from her big game in Starkville on Sunday, and she's picked up, knows that she has the speed advantage on Malone, and just blows by her to get to the rim. And then in transition, a miss does not matter for South Carolina because they assume that. They stay on the glass. Edwards with the putback.
Well, Tessa Johnson gets the first free throw. She's coming off a career-high 22 points. It was the first time in her career she's gone over the 20-point mark. Remember, she was a member of the Final Four All-Tournament team, and Dawn Staley has said, we need Final Four Tessa back.
Well, I feel like in all the games where South Carolina has needed Tessa Johnson to step up this season, she has. Michigan, and definitely against Mississippi State. She was the catalyst that steadied South Carolina on Sunday and got them going. And I think Tessa Johnson can put up 20 any night she wants.
Here she goes, leading the break, keeping her eyes down the court and just off the fingertips of Joyce Edwards. Well, to your point, in her last 3 games, Tessa Johnson is leading South Carolina, averaging 15.3 points per game.
And she's shooting over 45% in those 3 games. So
51%.
This young lady, I saw it all last year. I think the ankle injury early in the season kind of hindered her, and she got her stride late in the year. And honestly, I'm expecting more from Tessa Johnson. And I know that's saying a lot for a sophomore, but her skill set and her hunger just makes her really difficult matchup for teams.
Mid-range from Jada Malone. First points from somebody other than Aisha Coulibaly for Texas A&M.
So drop coverage on that on-ball screen by Texas A&M and took away the layup.
Catch and shoot, buckets! Tessa! Was a McDonald's All-American, actually won the 3-point contest at the McDonald's All-American game. That has not changed. Still shooting. Sahara Jones looking for options, 8 seconds for the Aggies. And several times they've got inside, but South Carolina's forced them underneath the basket.
Well, I think Texas A&M's got to clean up their transition defense. They're not getting back and truly getting matched up in the half court.
Assist for Dowda, over to Bree Hall for the bucket.
And that's 8 of the 19 that I've counted that that Texas A&M has not been solid in transition defense.
Another transition opportunity swatted away by Jada Malone.
Asked Joni Taylor, they got really late in shot clocks against Ole Miss. I said, was that purposeful about Ole Miss? She said, no, we're growing on our offense. We're getting deeper and being more patient. But right now in this game, I feel like South Carolina's forcing them deep in the shot clock.
Count that bucket from Joyce Edwards.
Dribble penetration kills. That's what coaches say. And you see how all of Texas A&M players drop because of that dribble penetration. Tessa Johnson wraps around, wide open at 3.
The other part of the Johnson & Johnson duo checks back in. Raven Johnson.
I mean, come on, that should be an NIL deal.
I mean, that is
them.
screaming NIL deal. It's like a case of bubble bath, right? Johnson & Johnson.
There's some shampoo there, lotion. It's versatile, just like these two young ladies.
South Carolina's on a 7-0 run. They are shooting 62% from the field in this first quarter because so many transition points, easy buckets.
Well, Raven Johnson not letting Soleil Williams initiate the offense to the right, so Williams goes to her dominant hand to the left.
This will be with South Carolina basketball. A little too easy of a pass there from Tessa Johnson.
Well, and this is where A&M's had success this evening. When they've scored, they've all five sprinted back. They've gotten matched up, and they've been able to make things difficult in the half court for South Carolina. It's been on the misses where they've struggled in this first quarter.
Mylasia Fulwiley into traffic, going high up off the window, and the rebound by Miriam Dowda. She is one of the post players they've asked to step up with no Ashlyn Watkins. Quick shot taken by Kendall Hunter.
I'm not sure that was a smart decision there. They could have waited for the last shot of the quarter.
Well, and Joni Taylor would point into the clock immediately after that shot. Now South Carolina gets the last shot of the quarter. They've hit their last 4 field goals.
I don't think it was recovery. I think she had him right where she wanted. This is just another example of how remarkable Joyce Edwards is. Physically gifted, powers it up through the contact.
If you can, please help the people affected by the California wildfires in 2025. Donate at Red Cross. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. Well, South Carolina off to an excellent start, shooting 63% from the field. A lot of those points coming in transition, 6 fast break points, and it's been a balanced scoring effort. Joyce Edwards leading the way right now, the freshman with 8 points.
Which not surprised at all. She is so capable. But this is where I say again, for Texas A&M, they've got to communicate better in transition. I know it says only 6, but they haven't been able to get 5-on-5 matched up, and that's allowed some easy looks for South Carolina.
Meanwhile, on the other side for Texas A&M, Aisha Coulibaly has 6 of their 10 points. That shot by Soleil Williams was short. Tessa Johnson looking ahead to Raven Johnson. Elbow shot. Won't get the bounce.
You really wanted that for Johnson & Johnson.
I mean, so bad. Soleil Williams, she's got the green light to shoot from deep. So does Tessa Johnson.
You can't miscommunicate on that exchange there and leave Tessa Johnson open. A&M got really lucky there.
Tessa Johnson coming off that career high 22 points where she hit 4 threes. Here's Coulibaly. And it's good to see Amira Abdul-Rahim in the game for Texas A&M. She was questionable in this game, but able to go today. Mylasia Fulwiley. Is that the shot South Carolina's looking for in that set?
I mean, I think Dawn Staley's good with Mylasia taking that pull. I think the key is the rest of our team ready for that? Because usually they can get that second chance opportunity.
If you're just tuning in, hadn't heard the news, South Carolina announced this week Ashlyn Watkins out for the season with an ACL tear. Pretty easy when you Nice sneak down the court.
I'm not sure how Sanaya Fagan sneaks down the floor. No ball pressure, so that allows Tessa Johnson to see the floor. Fagan just gets behind the defense. Way too easy for someone like Sanaya Fagan to score there.
We've been talking about it. We're waiting for that huge breakout game, right, for Sanaya Fagan. The potential is all there. She's played, you know, behind some great ones here at South Carolina, but now with Ashlyn Watkins out, maybe an opportunity to shine.
I think what I love about Sanaya Fagan, this is a 4-year player under Dawn Staley. Didn't get a lot of minutes in those first 3 years. Got late game kind of opportunities. She stuck with it. She bided her time and really committed herself to the weight room, to her nutrition in this offseason. And she's transformed her body. She says her pace is better. Her ability to play 40 minutes, which doesn't happen here in South Carolina, but consistently play hard is there now. And she's a big impact.
Well, we've got a great women's basketball matchup for you Monday on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Vanderbilt, 14-2. They're facing Flau'jae Johnson, Anissa Morrow, and undefeated LSU. Coverage tips at 7 Eastern. Now, Anissa Morrow, first in the nation in double-doubles. She's got 15 on the season. They got a good test tonight, though, coming up against Tennessee.
I think Morrow has to stay on the floor for LSU for them to have a chance at Rocky Top this evening. But, hey, if you haven't watched Vanderbilt, Michaela Blake's averaging 21 points a game. Camille Pierre averaging 23. That's quite a tandem of freshman sophomore for Vandy.
Yeah, Camille Pierre in the top 5 in the SEC in scoring. Anchor down, if you will. A&M trying to find some offensive rhythm. They're only shooting 26% from the field in this game. They've had to go late in the shot clock. And there's going to be a foul on Sahara Jones by Sanaya Fagan. That's her second.
So Dawn Staley just goes with a phenom freshman of Joyce Edwards for Fagan. But to your point about how A&M is struggling on offense, credit South Carolina's defense. They have been disruptive. They've beaten the offensive players to spots, and that's just made the offense totally disjointed.
The catch on the inbound from Sahara Jones up and in.
So you're seeing some zone from A&M now.
This is something they switched to. They went to a 2-3 zone in their last game when they had to come back against against Ole Miss. And that was key. Ole Miss did not have an answer for the 2-3 zone. This is going to force a turnover.
Well, I think something about Texas A&M that you need to know is this team early in the season was just handcuffed by injuries. You had players who weren't practicing because of load management issues, and they were able to start practicing. Got numerous players back full-time in practice, and since the Christmas break, this is a very different Texas A&M ball club.
Lauren Ware using that pivot to create space.
And Lauren Ware is a player who, since the break, just looks brand new. She really wasn't getting much lift before the break. She's moving so much better now due to the rest.
Fulwiley jacking the 3.
Oh, they missed Lauren Ware. She was sealing hard on the high-low, had it.
And Erica Moon with a turn. No, not a turnover. Saved by Jones. And just out of control.
Great job by AC to stop that transition. Well, this is a good ball reversal. Malaysia Fulwiley just able to step into that 3. Too easy for South Carolina. But that's how you beat a 2-3 matchup, ball reversal.
So Fulwiley will take a seat. That 3, her only points so far today in 8 minutes of action. Erica Moon setting things up for Texas A&M.
But at 15 seconds, just so slow getting into the offense.
And now running out of time with nowhere to go. 5 seconds. Gotta shoot. South find his defense too tough. And Joni Taylor telling her crew, calm down. It's all right.
Well, if you're an A&M fan, you got to feel good because you've shown against Ole Miss you can come back from as much as 16 down. South Carolina at home is just a kind of different beast.
I'd say so. They have won 65 straight home games. They haven't lost here since before December 17, 2020. Chloe Kitts will find herself at the free throw line.
Well, I talked about how ball reversal is one way to beat a zone. The other way is post-to-post passing. So South Carolina goes down to the short corner to Edwards. That forces the middle out. Edwards, great job pulling Ware. Easy look for Chloe Kitts.
And Megan mentioned the defense. I mean, we expect to see different defenses from Texas A&M, but trying to find an answer right now is South Carolina shooting 57%.
Well, I think you need to score to switch up the defenses because you got to get everybody. And when I say solid, what I mean by solid is 5-on-5 defensively. And that's not been a strength of Texas A&M so far in this first half.
Chloe Kitts is at the free throw line shooting one after she had the and one opportunity. This is a player that has a pro mentality now, so much so that even on game day, she does a game day lift. This was this morning at 9:30. She did deadlifts, med ball slams, single leg jumps, seated leg extensions, leg and bicep curls. Now, it doesn't last long, but it's important for her to get in the weight room like she did this morning at 9:30 and get the day started on a game day.
Well, and Chloe said, you know, I worked really hard last year, but I lost all the weight in season because this is a Gamecock ball club that lifts 4 days a week anyway. Any day they practice, they lift. But she said, I wasn't able to maintain my strength. And so this year, she's adjusted, mainly diet in terms of her nutrition, but it's the game day lifts as well.
Yeah. Eating more was a big thing for her, and she told us that's made a huge difference because putting on the added muscle. She said, I was watching film to get ready for opponents this year of me last year, and I was falling on the floor all the time. Now she can hold her own down low.
Oh, is that what she said? Because I tuned her out when she said, I have to eat more.
Yeah.
Every woman's dream, Chloe.
3 ball off the mark.
This is the fine line for Texas A&M right now. The half-court defense of South Carolina has been so good, so you want to try to score in transition. But if you don't score, that's just allowing South Carolina to get out and keep this pace the way they want it. Now, dead ball turnover allows them to potentially get in a zone, but it looks like they're going player to player.
6-0 run right now for the Gamecocks. A&M hasn't scored in over 2 minutes. Joyce Edwards, that was pretty. 8-0 run.
That's a tough matchup for Lauren Ware against the freshman because of her versatility off the bounce. You saw Ware just hanging back. Courtney, I talked about how it was a difficult matchup. Watch how Edwards creates space. Ware backs off a little bit because she knows Edwards can take her off the bounce. Edwards just elevates and knocks it down.
Joyce Edwards, and talking with her, she said, I'm a self-described little nerd off the court. She wants to be an environmental lawyer. And growing up, the rule was for Joyce and her household, if you don't have good grades, you can't play sports. So that really motivated her in the classroom.
And hats off to her parents because they knew the value, or they know the value of education first and foremost. And this young lady just excels in the classroom and on the court. So Sahara Jones staying on the floor now with those 2 personal fouls. She's a young lady that gives Joni Taylor a lot of options, both offensively and defensively, so she needs to avoid that 3rd. The other thing on offense for Texas A&M, they've had 3 turnovers just trying to make entry post passes because they don't get the right angle to deliver the ball. They need to go a little bit further to the wing to make that an easier entry pass.
Here's Fulwiley. She had 6 points, but all of those coming to start this game has been stopped since then. Sahara Jones off to the left. And my laser Fulwiley out with it. Tessa Johnson sneaks to the corner. And a little too forceful on the pass to Kitts.
This is unfortunate for Lauren Ware. Her hands were on her back. I don't think she displaced her, though, but because of the way the ball sailed, officials making this call.
Tough shot from Joyce Edwards. Fulwiley trying the no-look inside to Joyce. Stolen away by Texas A&M.
We both had the same response.
Yeah, like, oh, God.
Aisha Fulwiley needs to get going on offense here for Texas A&M.
And it'll be South Carolina basketball. Well, the college football playoff semifinals on ESPN tonight. Notre Dame takes on Penn State in the Capital One Orange Bowl at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And then tomorrow, Ohio State squares off against Texas in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Both games kick off at 7:30.
Who you got?
Oh, man, I'm here for a good game. After watching Texas-Arizona State, wow, what a ball game.
I'm going to go for Notre Dame on the other side.
Okay.
I don't know if it's out on a limb or not, but I like the defense for Notre Dame.
Soleil Williams trying to Euro step around Tessa Johnson. And Texas A&M just trying to get anything going, looking for that spark in transition. They've missed their last 5 shots now.
I would have liked to see Soleil kick that one out to her teammate in the corner.
Tessa Johnson, no. It's a 9-0 run over the last 5 minutes for South Carolina. And means a 5-minute scoring drought for Texas A&M. A minute to go in the half.
Well, what I've seen now is a lot of players standing on offense for South Carolina and one player just trying to create off the bounce versus executing a half-court offense. Just 6 seconds left on the shot clock here for South Carolina. I'm sorry, for Texas A&M.
So they'll bring over Aisha Fulwiley to inbound this basketball. Janae Kent had a look, can't finish, and Tessa Johnson comes out with it. Shot clock still on, still plenty of time as South Carolina looks to push in transition. Fulwiley too far. Raven Johnson with a block. You heard me right.
We talk so much about the blocks of the bigs, but the guards for South Carolina hold their own. Raven Johnson times that perfectly, and it goes off the Texas A&M head. South Carolina's going to hold for one shot here.
Fulwiley taking her time. Won't get the bounce, but South Carolina ending the half on a 9-0 run. They are up 37-17 at the half. Let's get you back to Shay in the studio.
Welcome back to Colonial Life Arena, where first and foremost, Courtney Lyle is come under a bug, not feeling well, not sure if she'll be able to get back with us here this half. Best wishes to Courtney. But in true Dawn Staley fashion, next player up, and that's me, unfortunately. So, all first half, it was the South Carolina offense due to some great defense, but that defense allowed them to get out in transition and score some easy buckets. 48% in the first half. The tempo is what South Carolina likes because they attacked before the half-court defense of A&M could get set up. Long rebounds, long outlets allowed South Carolina to get out and get easy looks in the half court. And when they couldn't score on the first shot, they were able to get second shots. This half now for A&M, they've got to do a better job transition defense. They've got to get solid immediately in the half court, or there's going to be a lot more at Gamecock as we saw in the first half. And we talked about the South Carolina offense, but their defense held A&M to their lowest point production in the first half this season. And in true fashion, the bench showed up once again for South Carolina, 20 points of their 37 in the first half. So A&M coming out, matching up in player to player. Double team or not does not matter. Sanaya Fagan taking it up strong for South Carolina. Aisha Coulibaly usually gets a first play call for her out of each half. Important to get her going in. Had early 6 points and then did not score again until right now in the second half. I would like to see A&M stop balls sooner because they're not getting matched up, and we've seen it. Easy shots at rim or second chance opportunities. That time, A&M's able to get the stop. So I said it in the first half, but just so slow developing offenses for A&M. And for South Carolina, it's transition. You see a player, two players actually for A&M running to the paint. That leaves Bree Hall wide open to spot up in the corner for the three. First quarter, second quarter, now third quarter. A miss by A&M is allowing South Carolina to get out in transition and run. I know that's just going to show up as a rebound for Chloe Kipp, but the fact that she came down and straddled her teammate that was underneath her was remarkable. This is true Dawn Staley basketball. Defense forces the turnover, and then Chloe Kiss just gets out running. A&M was really successful against Ole Miss on Sunday at some of the baseline out-of-bounds execution. So far, South Carolina's done a great job. Chloe Kitts taps her chest saying, my bad. But right now, South Carolina getting anything they want in the half court. I'd like to see more ball pressure by Texas A&M to take away some of those looks that South Carolina's getting in the half court. I really believe Sanaya Fagan is one of the more underrated, improved players around the SEC. We've known about her for 4 years now, but it is just confidence. It is her conditioning level where this young lady, all of it's coming together now in a big way for South Carolina. Disjointed on the defensive end, so Joni Taylor calls time out for Texas A&M. Welcome back to Colonial Life Arena, where South Carolina's gone on a 10-0 run to extend their lead to 49-19. And now let's take a look at tonight's Wooden Watch presented by Principal. And it's none other than Juju Watkins. Helped lead USC to Maryland's first loss last night, 79-74, 21 points before fouling out, and one of the most dynamic players in our game. And you see the season averages, but she is must-watch TV in the women's game. And one thing for Texas A&M all season long, they have been good at executing out of timeouts. This time, South Carolina doesn't allow it. And actually, that's his wholesale subs for Joni Taylor coming out of that timeout. 5 new players on the floor and going to a little matchup zone. And with that tie-up, we are going to break. South Carolina still up big. What more do you need? We've got the top 2 teams in the net. We've got 2 of the top teams in the SEC. We've got 2 of the best offenses, 2 of the best defenses. Forget football on Sunday. This is must-watch TV. Texas, South Carolina. And if I'm Joni Taylor that last timeout, I am telling my team, forget the scoreboard. This is about us moving forward, building on what we did on Sunday. Let's start trying to execute better 5-on-5 in the half court. And sometimes it just doesn't matter how well you execute when you got rim protection like South Carolina does with Miriam Dowda. And things are not going A&M's way. But I had Texas A&M a month ago. And the growth and improvement of this ball club from a month ago to now, and it's because bodies are getting healthy. Now, unfortunately, playing some of the other teams in the SEC is not quite like playing Texas. It's not quite like playing South Carolina, and they've just come into a buzzsaw here this afternoon. So A&M has gone to the matchup zone, but this is tremendous passing by South Carolina, and it's just slow recovery. Hunter moves after the pass. You've got to be moving on the pass to close out like on shooters like Tessa Johnson. A&M runs a lot of motion offense, but I would love to see a set that involves 5 players right now because there's just so much standing unless Abdur-Rahim can knock it down a shot like we just saw. South Carolina just puts so much pressure on you in terms of your transition defense. And the key in the SEC play is they've been getting 18% of their points from the free throw line because they put so much pressure on opposing defenses, both in the half court as well as transition. Great read there by Moon. Faked the handoff. Defense thought there was going to be a handoff, and she just took it to the rim. Missed threes will lead to runouts. Great job by Texas A&M to try to get the easy 2 in transition. One thing I've seen in the matchup zone now is that I'm seeing players communicate. In man-to-man, I wasn't seeing a lot of half-court communication by A&M in these last couple of possessions. This is a team that's connected on the defensive end. Great steal by Malone, great finish. So I talked about how do you beat a 2-3 matchup. You want ball reversal, but the players defensively have to bump quicker, meaning leave the player they were on and get back to their area. And that's why Edwards is wide open in the middle of the paint. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try. Edwards on the glass. Misses the first opportunity. Try again. Edwards just showing her physical dominance right now. And for A&M, one thing Joni Taylor said to us is that as far as players who had ever played in this building before, it was Aisha Coulibaly. And Janae Kidd didn't even, as a transfer from LSU, because South Carolina went there yet. So right now, if I'm this coaching staff, I am challenging my players to step up and compete in this game. Forget winning and losing. This is about building some positive momentum to continue into SEC play. And so Joni Taylor going back with the starters now after making that sub a little while ago with all 5 players from the bench. Much better transition defense that time for Texas A&M. Edwards is just dominating on the offensive glass right now for South Carolina. I don't know how she's being left untouched. Now, some of it is matchup zone, but you got to know who where the rebounders are right now. You always tell your offensive players, you go until someone stops you, and no one stopped Mylasia Fulwiley that time in transition D. It was all South Carolina in that third quarter. South Carolina has 6 offensive rebounds. Joyce Edwards has 4 of them herself. And then when it's not the glass, it is Mylasia Fulwiley and the rest of the team in transition. No one stops her. Kiss off the glass.
South Carolina in control in Columbia. 10 minutes to play, 63-27 is the score after South Carolina outscoring Texas A&M 26-10 in the third quarter. We're back. Everything's okay. Christy, thank you so much for holding down the fort. Really appreciate it. And shout out to the South Carolina medical staff. I appreciate them too. What have you noticed from the Gamecocks? No Ashlyn Watkins. She's out for the season with the ACL. What have you noticed about their rotations and how they've adapted?
Well, I appreciate your professionalism, first of all, but never missed anybody more in my life. But to your question, I think we were all eager to see how this team would respond, or would they be looking ahead maybe to these next 5 matchups against ranked opponents. And in typical South Carolina fashion, it has been next woman up, and they've done it in transition. They've done it with the defense. And honestly, what I'm looking from A&M this fourth quarter is to play harder. There was a lull there in that third quarter with this team separated. There wasn't much talk, and we're seeing immediately going to the 1-3-1 in the half court, trying to mix this up defensively.
Again, Texas A&M, they had a chance over Christmas and finals break as Joyce Edwards hits. They had a chance to work on themselves, and they put in some different defenses, so showing a few of those things. But you know that Joni Taylor she's not going to stand to not coach effort. She doesn't want to coach effort.
And we saw 5 wholesale subs when that effort wasn't there in that third quarter. And I don't think we can say this enough for A&M. I feel like November, December for A&M, it looked like they were just starting practices from the summer where most teams had year-round because these players weren't practicing.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Christmas break, putting more things in. This team will continue to get better if they want to, meaning if they decide they're going to battle, they're going to fight.
Oh, Sanaya Fagan with a little rejection of Lauren Ware, but draws the foul. That'll be the second on Sanaya Fagan, or excuse me, the third.
Well, South Carolina came in tonight averaging 6 blocks a game, 11th in the country. And we wondered what would happen with the leading shot blocker being gone in Ashlyn Watkins. Well, Sanaya Fagan says, I got this. Already now with 3 blocks in this game.
Lauren Ware at the free throw line. And the crowd gets Chick-fil-A because an opponent missed 2 free throws in the second half.
Just not on Sunday.
Yeah. I want to go back to Sanaya Fagan, because a player that we both really like. What are some of her strengths when you watch her play on the court for South Carolina?
Well, she's always been a physical low post player, and she hasn't lost that. She's maintained her strength, but she's leaner. And I think more than anything, I see a maturity in Sanaya, and I think it is a matter of being a fourth-year player in the system, knowing that she is the starting post player, knowing that everyone believes in her and what she has around her. I don't think she forces action. I think she takes what the defense gives her and can make difficult shots.
Oh, and Lauren Ware had a point-blank look at the basket, couldn't let it fall. It's kind of been the story today for Texas A&M, just 23% from the field. Uh-oh. Top of the key, Fagan! Soleil Williams too much. You know, Fagan's got to practice that in case they need a Camila Cardoso moment.
Well, you started the bragging on Fagan, and she's just responding. You just see the beautiful turnaround jumper, great touch, and then the trail three. And as beautiful as the shot looked, it was the smile. And look at Pow Pow. Pow Pow makes the pass, and she's just walking down the floor. That's one thing for South Carolina. Their closeouts. They may not be in position on the catch, but their closeout speed and length takes away shots immediately from opponents.
Look at Joyce Edwards. Into the double figures in points and rebounds. 19 points, 10 rebounds. That's her second double-double of her career, her young career. Her first one coming against Iowa State earlier this season. Kendall Hunter trying to draw the contact, and she will from Pow Pow.
It's not surprising in Edwards. I mean, this isn't like a young lady who wasn't highly touted coming out of high school. But at the same time, knowing that these South Carolina players don't play 40 minutes. They have limited minutes because Dawn Staley uses that bench. It's evidenced by the #1 scoring bench in the country. But this young lady, I think she's just a difficult matchup for opponents because of her skill set, but also her athleticism.
She's experienced, too. I know she's a freshman, but she played high school as a 7th grader, was a 2-time National Player of the Year in high school, #3 overall, a McDonald's All-American. Back up and in from Jada Malone.
And that's all A&M needs to do right now. Just slow down when they catch the ball and take it up strong. We talk about the shot blocking ability of South Carolina, but there's also an element to their defense that affects shots. And we've seen them affect a lot of A&M shots here this evening.
Julia Parker. Abdur Rahim with the take.
Nice shot. I mean, it's just nice to see Abdur Rahim out here this evening. Sprained her ankle a little bit against Ole Miss. Weren't sure if she was going to play. She adds another element to the post play of Texas A&M.
Swiped in the air by Kendall Hunter. And the damage to go along with it. With South Carolina, a sizable lead here late in the 4th quarter.
And you see on that make, A&M trying to extend into a little bit of full court pressure.
Tessa Johnson.
But you got to get matched up if you're going to go player to player full court. 5 players need to get matched up. So we've seen this a lot this evening. 1 player with the ball and 4 other players standing for A&M. The weak side, the team defense of South Carolina is just too good to do that.
Like that right there. The takeaway for the Gamecocks, and Jada Malone is going to foul Tessa Johnson. You look at the stat sheet right now for South Carolina. They got 3 players in double figures, led by the freshman Joyce Edwards, who's 1 point off of tying her career high. 4 players in double figures: Tessa Johnson, Mylasia Fulwiley, Joyce Edwards, and Sanaya Fagan.
Well, Courtney, we talked about it pregame, because you asked me as a coach, how would you game plan against the South Carolina team? And I really kind of was like, this is why I'm not coaching anymore, because this is really difficult. Because anybody can beat you on any night. You know, most times when you're a coach, you try to take away top leading scorer or the leading scorer and the next person and make others beat you. Well, South Carolina's proven night in and night out that next player can beat you.
Yes. Kitts at the free throw line right now, 9.6 rebounds.
And we mentioned Ashlyn Watkins being done for the season, but Walker is back for them now. And I think the timing for this couldn't happen at a better time for South Carolina, because they need to get more reps for these other posts.
And you see Ashlyn Watkins there is doing her prehab right now, has not had surgery yet on that ACL that she suffered in their last game against Mississippi State. And Dawn Staley, talking about Sakima Walker, said she's just got to get healthy. She's dealt with injuries her entire career. Need her to get healthy and get on the floor, because she is experienced. Played at Northwest Florida State before coming to South Carolina.
Well, and she is 6'5" as well, so that helps.
That also helps. There are your stat sheet leaders with Joyce Edwards at the top. Parker loses it. Bree Hall gets there.
And that's a freshman move by Parker. She'll get better at that, but going full speed, there's got to be some touch on that pass.
Into the corner for Wiley. 3 threes tonight for Mylasia. Wiley's going to come up with the steal. Look at her speed down the floor. Oh my goodness! Put it on the highlight tape! Full Wiley, full court.
Oh, Mylasia. You're late to stop her. She can split a D. She can kiss it off the glass.
Mylasia Fulwiley, what a play.
You know, Dawn Staley's saying she wants more in between the wow moments. I'm sorry, Dawn. The fans want more of the wow moments. It is just reading. And it's just the ability to hang in the air. And as great as that move was, watching her teammates celebrate it, the majority of that timeout were the players. Don't say they didn't have a chance in that huddle, because they were all watching the scoreboard to see the replay over and over.
So she's got the chance for the and-one coming up. Jada Malone did foul out on that play, picking up her 5th foul. Mylasia's kind of had to figure it out this game, because it didn't start that great. And we've seen Dawn Staley at times, she'll let her figure it out, and sometimes she's having a seat over on the bench.
You know, I asked Dawn last week, I said, to me it looks like Fulwiley needs to be a little bit more selfish, because she's overly selfless and trying to pass and set up her teammates. And Dawn said, yeah, she said, it's because Mylasia knows she can get her shot anytime she wants.
Do you mean like what we just saw?
I mean, if you can split 2 players who are already established in transition D and still score, I'd say so.
She's going to be whistled for the foul there, as Kendall Hunter was going up for the bucket. Well, we have 6 men's college basketball games for you Saturday on ESPN. It starts with these 2, Cooper Flag and Duke hosting Notre Dame at noon, and then number 3, Iowa State against Texas Tech. Cooper Flag, how fun is he to watch? I mean, 7 times this season he's had 20 or more points in a game.
You know, it's one thing when you just kind of sneak on the scene. This young man, everyone's known about forever.
Yeah.
And he's still putting up these numbers.
Yeah.
Double teams, sometimes triple teams. Doesn't matter.
Freshman. Well, South Carolina has been in control from the start. They held Texas A&M to just 7 points in the second quarter. They've held them to 7 points here in the fourth quarter. Now 10 times this season, they've held an opponent to single digits in a quarter. Sully Williams with the takeaway. No foul. It'll stay with the Aggies.
I mean, that was great defense by Tessa Johnson. Timed it perfectly. Got her hand on that ball to force it out. You know, we both talked about how Aisha Fulwiley needed to come up big for A&M. Started this game so well, 6 straight points, and since then, only 2 in this game.
Sully Williams hits the 3. Yeah, Fulwiley had 32 points against South Carolina in the SEC tournament last year. That was a loss, but still something that South Carolina hadn't forgotten.
Well, I mean, it shows the respect Dawn Staley has for Aisha Fulwiley. She's like, we don't have an answer. We just need to try to go at her when we have offense and try to get her in foul trouble.
Sakima Walker, look at the move. South Carolina's got Adele Tack in there too. They give her the basketball. And they've liked what they've gotten out of Tack in practice. Remember, she enrolled early last year because she had season-ending injuries the last 2 years of her high school career.
Well, Courtney, they like what Tack's giving them, but they also like what Walker just showed them. I mean, for a young lady who's just coming off lower body issues, that was a great little footwork for the finish.
Abdur Rahim. You know, looking ahead, the South Carolina team, they've got a lot of challenges coming. What is it? Their next 5 opponents are ranked?
Yes.
And that starts with playing a Texas team on Sunday at 1 on ESPN. And remember, Vic Schaefer was at Mississippi State. Him and Dawn Staley had some epic battles in the SEC when he was in Starkville.
I love the versatility of Vic Schaefer's squad. I also love the versatility of Dawn Staley's squad. I really think in this game, I think it's going to come down to rebounding.
Yeah?
Now, Vic and Dawn haven't asked my opinion on that, but that's my 2 cents going into that game. Now, where's that game being held? Colonial Life Arena. So if I had to give a nod right now, and that's my respect for this fan base and the home court that they create here.
Yeah, South Carolina led the nation in attendance average the last 10 seasons. They call them the FAMs.
But I do want to say thank you to the SEC because we're going to get this rematch in Austin in early February as well. So these 2 teams will face up twice this season.
And hey, we don't know what's going to happen in the SEC tournament too in Greenville.
Oh, and postseason even maybe.
I mean, let's go. We're talking March, and it's January 9th. For Texas A&M, I mean, the road not easy. Sunday, they're going to play at Oklahoma. Jenny Bronchek's team just took down Tennessee, handed the Lady Vols their first loss of the season.
Well, we brought up South Carolina's 5 straight ranked opponents. I almost feel like we could say that for almost every team in the SEC right now. 9 teams ranked right now.
I think it's 7.
7, sorry.
7, we counted.
Because we keep beating up on one another.
Yes.
But there's no easy night off for this. And that's what I'm eager to see. Is there a wear and tear effect on these teams because of just how difficult it is night in and night out this season?
Well, we were talking too, big picture wise, Charlie Cream releasing his bracketology. What is it, 13 teams out of the Big Ten right now?
10 out of the ACC, 10 out of the SEC.
And last night, it was USC and Juju Watkins handing Maryland its first loss of the season.
So I think we're down to 4 undefeated teams now in the country.
Yeah.
LSU being one of those. UCLA, Georgia Tech out of the ACC, which many people believe is one of the biggest surprises.
Do you know, so I read something today that surprised me. Georgia Tech has never hosted an NCAA tournament game.
Wow.
I know, right?
I will say, if you have not seen Georgia Tech play, it's an exciting brand. It's defensive oriented, but they shoot a lot of threes as well. And Ohio State is the 4th team.
Yep.
I'm still going to put you on the spot.
Oh boy.
Does anyone finish the season undefeated?
Ooh, no. Not with the parity and the level of talent that we have this year.
Absolutely agree. Does anyone finish the SEC season undefeated?
Ooh. No.
I agree with that as well. Is it possible? Yes, but that's my respect for the depth of this league this season.
Soleil Williams in transition.
How quickly did South Carolina get that ball out after the Soleil Williams layup? They were ready to run again. And Soleil Williams have done some good things here in the 4th quarter. They have looked to battle, looked to create on offense.
Well, South Carolina on the cusp of history right now. They're about to pick up their 66th straight home win and their 50th straight SEC win. That is a new SEC record.
I have no words for that. I mean,
right?
When you think of the great teams in this league, when you think of the run of Tennessee with Pat Summitt and everything else, and now Dawn Staley just creating her own dynasty.
3 national championships here at South Carolina. Dawn Staley, one of 5 coaches in the women's game to win 3 or more. They've been to 6 Final Fours in the last 9 tournaments.
And most have them projected to be there again this year.
Yes, they are projected to be a 1 seed right now. No surprise. The number 2 overall seed behind UCLA, according to Charlie Cream. A complete performance for the number 2 team in the nation. 66 straight wins at home for the South Carolina Gamecocks. And they have won 50 straight SEC games. Incredible.
Well, I think if anyone thought it was going to be easier now with Ashlyn Watkins' injury, I think South Carolina made a statement this evening saying that we are prepared, we have depth, next player up, and we're going to be okay.
South Carolina 15-1 on the season. They get the win over Texas A&M 90-49.